Trumpian attempts to control the news and media that you see continue today as FCC Chair Brendan Carr, still stinging from scandals earlier this week, just unloaded some ominous guidelines for the future. If you care about the transparency of media, credible journalism, and, American democracy and values, listen up. This fight is just heating up. This is the David Reddish Show. Happy Friday, beautiful Occupy Democrats viewers. I am your host. And once again, we are almost halfway to our new subscriber goal of 500,000, so please follow the link in the description to subscribe to our new channel now if you have not. And trust me, after you see this news story, you will be very glad that you did. So let's get to it. As you may know, earlier this week, the FCC landed at the center of a historic blow-up following the censorship of late-night host Stephen Colbert's interview with Texas Senate hopeful James Tallarico, a Democrat. And that story continues to intensify. Here's a recap and an update.
For a second night in a row, late-night host Stephen Colbert criticized CBS after he said the network made him pull his interview with Democratic Texas State Representative James Tallarico on Monday, in fear that it would violate the Federal Communications Commission's equal time rule.
We were told in no uncertain terms by our network's lawyers, who called us directly, that we could not have him on the broadcast.
The equal time rule requires broadcast stations to give equal airtime to candidates running for the same political office. Late night and daytime talk shows have been traditionally exempt. But in January, the FCC said it is revisiting that rule, writing in a memo, quote, "A program that is motivated by partisan purposes, for example, would not be entitled to an exemption under long-standing FCC precedent."
Let's just call this what it is. Donald Trump's administration wants to silence anyone who says anything bad about Trump on TV because all Trump does is watch TV.
CBS said Tuesday The Late Show was not prohibited by CBS from broadcasting the interview with Representative James Tallarico. The show was provided legal guidance that the broadcast could trigger the FCC equal time rule for two other candidates.
Every word of my script last night was approved by CBS's lawyers. I got called backstage to get more notes from these lawyers, something that had never, ever happened before. And they told us the language they wanted me to use to describe that equal time exception.
Oh, and it gets so much worse, people. Stay with me here. Of course, if you are a regular viewer of the David Reddish Show, you know that yesterday we reported that the censorship of Colbert and Tallarico is actually part of a much larger push by the Trump-appointed FCC chairman Brendan Carr to alter the media narrative and to make it more favorable to the Trump administration. It's important to note that his sudden edict that talk shows are subject to the equal time rule replaces 30 years of precedent. Furthermore, in addition to the Colbert incident, Carr has also threatened to investigate local broadcasters for, quote, news distortion if they aired Jimmy Kimmel Live, and the FCC is investigating ABC's program The View for a possible violation of the equal time rule. And none of that even gets into the manipulations by Trumper news chief Bari Weiss over at CBS or her own attempts to please Carr and Trump. Attempts so egregious they prompted network anchor Anderson Cooper to quit this week. Again, see our other videos for more on all of that. And now, as if this Carmageddon of broadcasting was not enough, it just got worse. And even more irritating. Take a look at this. This morning, Hollywood industry publication Variety announced that Carr has issued the Pledge America campaign, which he framed as part of the White House's salute to America's 250th birthday. The initiative, quote, invites citizens to have a renewed love of American history, experience the beauty of our country, and ignite a spirit of adventure and innovation that will raise our nation to new heights over the next 250 years, close quote. Sounds innocuous, right? Don't be so sure. According to Carr, the campaign urges broadcasters to show, quote, patriotic, pro-America content that celebrates the American journey and inspires its citizens by highlighting the historic accomplishments of this great nation from our founding through the Trump administration, close quote. Funny who gets a name drop there, right? Some of that suggested programming includes starting each broadcast day with the Star-Spangled Banner or Pledge of Allegiance, running PSAs or short segments or full specials specifically promoting civic education, inspiring local stories and American history, and providing daily Today in American History announcements highlighting significant events that took place on that day in history. But wait, you say, isn't this just all well and good to celebrate our nation's history? Well, my beautiful viewers, let me respond with a question of my own. Is it ever about America when Donald Trump is involved? Moreover, we've already seen attempts to censor history by this administration, be it removal of exhibits about slavery at historical monuments, forcing changes to exhibits in history at the Smithsonian, removing mentions of people of color or queer people, forcing school curriculum changes, changing the name of public places, and beyond. And if you watch this show, you know that I seldom invoke a certain name. George Orwell, one of the greatest authors known to me and a man whose work continues to have a very deep influence on my own. I get tired of the overuse of the Orwell analogies of censorship and totalitarianism, but this time, right now, I can't avoid it. If you've read 1984, you know that much of what Brendan Carr suggests is paralleled in that novel, from weird daily allegiance rituals to rewriting history to blocking free speech, and it's all happening now. Here's hoping we all find a way to celebrate the 250th anniversary of this country with pride and without trying to deny its history or its present reality. Frankly, I think an impeachment would be a great way to reassert our American values and tell people like Trump and Carr where they can stick their fireworks. Somehow it's a better bang than either of them deserves. This is The David Reddish Show.